December 2019. News comes from Wuhan, China, about an alarming novel strain of coronavirus. What we now know as COVID-19 starts spreading, and nations worldwide enforce quarantines and lockdowns. While the world enters crisis mode, a group of filmmakers across the globe grabs their cameras to capture the lives and stories around them. Sharing these stories, they realize, even before COVID-19, we had equally virulent diseases dividing us. Perhaps this virus might be a test for humanity, a wake-up call for change. Filmmakers and storytellers from 22 countries unite in a shared goal to tell the story of a time for healing. This is Sanazione.
Ten,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2.
and 1.
For me, the International Youth Media Summit is a family bound by one goal, determined to change the world together.
Ladies and gentlemen, delegates, diplomats, filmmakers, advisors,
Youth champions, change makers, hosts, mentors, and all our honorable guests.
welcome to the 15th Annual International Youth Media Summit.
IYMS was most often organized in Europe, and in 2016 we made the switch and for the first time organized it in Asia, in Nepal. And the following year, in 2017, we moved back to Europe, but this time to the north, to Sweden. And I was the chairperson of the youth committee back then. As we circle her, we transition into the flashback. And I was speaking to one of the hosts from Sweden, Anna Eriksson, and we're talking about how one city in Croatia called Rijeka was actually declared as the capital, European capital of culture in 2020. And how we can try to align IYMS's activities based on that, and how we should move the summit to Croatia in that year.
I think that is so important that we have some kind of a representation and that we also, for each year, develop in representation from new parts of the world.
I was 19 at the time, and I was thinking, well, that is ambitious, but we would have enough time to prepare and plan for everything. So I said, yes, let's try to do it. We are ready to take on the full organization, including hosting. This must be easy because we're organizing almost all the activities here.
I came to the summit 5 years ago when I was 14. I went to Belgrade the first year, and that's where I met the whole summit team and where I met Antonio. I went to summit the next year as well, so 2 years in a row, which was in Nepal. I was also a youth advisor for one of the groups. I was 19 years old and I went by myself to Australia. I didn't know anyone, and it was really a scary and exciting experience at the same time. And there I met so many wonderful people, and I managed to get to know so many different cultures and realize what a wonderful thing actually the summit is. The next year, when the summit was held in Nepal, so that was last year, I went again with my colleague and friend Antonio, and we were there for 2 weeks, and I was part of the discrimination group. I was one of the directors, and it was even more amazing than Australia. There were some old friends, and I gained some new friends, and Nepal was just gorgeous. And then it was, we were starting to plan, you know, where the summit for the next year is going to be. And it was Croatia, and it was like, okay, well, Antonio and Rebecca, you are to host the Croatia summit in the year 2020. And so we're like, wow, this is a really big task.
Weeks before IYMS 2019, we had everything ready for Croatia. We signed many documents, many contracts, and had many meetings with the advisory board. The Croatian Film Association gave their green light that they would be hosting the summit with us, and we were prepared for almost everything. Preparations for our event started as soon as we returned from Nepal, and they were running pretty smoothly because we knew all the basic things that we had to cover to begin with. For example, accommodation and food.
And we were doing social media, we were doing all the necessary preparations, booking the hotel, figuring out how we're going to give the meals to everyone, so it was a lot of preparation.
We had to make sure everything was set and done when our guests arrive, and this was where I had the biggest role to play because I wasn't part of the technical team and all of that stuff. But we all ended up kind of working together and figuring things out together.
So a week afterwards, when we received a positive email where they said everything is fine and we can have that accommodation, we thought that that was the worst thing that could have happened. And we are over it, and from now on everything will be even smoother and we won't have such major trouble. For the most part, the visas, because we had 40 delegates who required visas. 20 of them would have to obtain them in their country, and around 20 would have to travel to another country to obtain them. So we focused on many things, not just the local part of organizing and hosting the summit. Most importantly, we were in constant contact with the delegates. So we knew their requirements and their wishes for the summit. And that activity actually brought us a lot of positive change. For the first time ever, we had almost 300 applications which we had to assess. And there was this selection committee where we had to figure out who will be the 80 to 90 people which we will be inviting. And you had many alumni and you had many high quality applicants which we had to turn down because IYMS focuses on all kinds of balance. So there was a moment in time where everybody already confirmed their participations and everybody in the organizing team were eager to know what their role is. So I put off everything I had to do for 2 days and I created a master Gantt chart of activities through time where everybody would have a role. And in the meantime, we also traveled officially for organizing another festival, and on the way back we stopped at a gas station and they asked us whether we're coming from Italy. And being disconnected from our phones, we didn't really understand why they were asking us that. And moments later, I received, actually the whole advisory board received a serious and grave email from one of our board members in Italy. And she said that we should consider canceling this whole event for the sake of safety of everybody. The coronavirus didn't really hit the world, didn't really hit Croatia.
The COVID hit, and that was something that we really couldn't predict. So we were thinking until the last minute, it's not going to happen, we're going to be fine, we're going to have the summit. And then when we realized that this pandemic is an actual pandemic and that it's not going away, we're like, okay, we need to do something. So we were like, we cannot let this 15th, anniversary summit just go by with nothing happening.
I think it was very difficult at first. When we heard about it, my first thoughts were it's not going to happen. There's no way we can do this. There's no way we can connect that many people from that many different countries.
We didn't really understand the severity, so our immediate response was not to cancel anything, not to give up at the first sign of danger, but to really start planning ahead and having a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth plan, what to do in case we actually won't be able to meet. We knew that we cannot cancel, so we started on time. And yes, that's one of the reasons why the virtual summit even happened.
Making an online event is extremely difficult, especially when you don't know where to go from. So it was the main problem was to think, okay, how can we transfer this physical event that is 2 weeks long into a bit shorter version that's completely virtual? And so we went from every specific part of the summit and we were thinking, okay, so this could look like this when digital. And I think we managed to do it really well.
IYMS, being a cultural melting pot, really is difficult to put to screens and bits and ones and zeros, and that the greatest glory of the summit is actually getting to meet the people and getting to meet the environment you're in and getting to know your surroundings. So there came a point where we decided that it would have to go virtual.
Connecting so many people from different parts of the world, it's difficult when everyone's in different time zones. You don't know how much they need to deal with in their own home life and work life, and especially with this pandemic. I was worried that we might not get enough people who are able to join, or even those who are able to join, that they might not be able to be with us full time. And that was the case for some people, which is of course understandable considering the situation.
We are the International Youth Media Summit, so this means that we cannot just open up a webcam and wave in front of people and say, welcome to Croatia. This meant that only weeks before the event, even days, we had to set up a live stream, and we wanted to row our boats like we were in Karlovac in front of the green screen. So we really decided to put on a show for everybody, because that's what we are. And we break boundaries and break barriers, and we accomplish wonders in impossible environments.
5,
4,
3,
2.
and 1.
Please join us there quickly so that we can enjoy some music together, celebrate this special day, and hear more about how we plan to make the summit happen.
So, please open the chat, click the link, and join us on another call as fast as you can, because the first person that joins us, we have prepared a special gift card for the next year's summit in Croatia.
And don't miss the musical surprise in the beginning. New surprises. Click, 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 and let's switch.
It's very difficult on its own to have a week to make a film, when we're all physically in the same location. But when you're online and you can see the people, and the only way you can see them is through your computer, it kind of really, you know, it's complicated to think of a concept of a film that you can actually shoot, film, create, and edit. And I think that each group had a very big challenge ahead of them, but in the end, we got 7 really amazing films. That's what shocked me the most, and that's what I'm the happiest about, because we showed that even during the biggest crisis, we prevail and we make amazing content that is very, very, very relevant to the world's issues, and we're starting to really be true change makers.
One of the most special moments was actually near the end of the summit, the morning when we received all 7 short films that were done and finalized. I don't think anybody doubted that that moment would happen, because that was the single production goal and we decided to go with it. And still, it was really, really special to receive all 7 films and to prepare the live stream and to showcase it for the closing ceremony to the world. We made this happen together, all from our own countries, all from our own cities, so far away, but still interconnected together. We are really looking forward to welcoming everybody next year in Croatia, and no matter how impossible it seems at the moment, we have to have hope and we have to believe that by next year everything will be better than it is now, and we will be ready to face any challenges together.